you know, table of contents pages that can take you through it, but they won't have any summary of what really is happening. And people want abstracts and summaries, correct? They want to know what they're going to be reading before they start putting effort and time into it. Well, my book is going to resolve that issue. It's going to state right up front, and then in the conclusions, what the results of all of that work. You know, that magnetic survey that I did with 1,800 stations took me 3 years of trekking back across fields and roads and streams in that 24 square mile area, and represents an enormous amount of work, all paid for by myself, and nobody else has ever done anything like that in order to document underground magnetic activity created by the aliens who are in their underground base.
Well, I'd like your input on UFOassociation.org. I had it way back in the day, but I didn't do a lot with it because my husband got sick. So for years, I've sat on the name, and I lost .com. They want thousands for it again. So I'm using UFOassociation.org. But I'd like to list our journalists, scientists, cosmologists, physicists, phenomenologists, and I'm including alienologists, UFO historians, because back when I started with Stan and George Filer, George had his own National UFO Center and his files. And you know, Dr. Bruce Maccabee has his and you have yours. And Dr. Bruce Maccabee agreed to represent my ACO, his Alien Contact Organization, and my UFO Association together. But I'm just now starting. And now that Stan has died, I've told you I was going to start doing Ace Folklife like Stan Lee in all the, whether it's myth or history, and get Dave here to lend some of his expertise as well. So we'll have to have a little committee, and Ahmad agreed just to go ahead and get something going to give us the launch and his ideas, setting it up. And then I've done a magazine before, and we can do it like an ebook, and we can have one for the Professional Trade Association for entrepreneurs as well. And we'll just have to see in our directory who's who, so to speak, in our UFO Association. But I'd like you to look at UFOassociation.org, because everybody, it used to just be you either liked UFOs or you didn't. It's either Stan or MUFON or CSETI. And now we got Alien Contact Org and ACO and UFO Association. But we're running this broadcast communication, and I'm using the acronym regardless of who uses it, whichever way, including my American Communication Online, but that limits us maybe. I didn't think of that when I chose the name, but it was 3 good words, because in cyberspace and communication, they wanted me to stick to the American continent, North and South America, so that's in our logo, and they wanted me in communications, which I'm doing my best to share with you now, and then online, which means I can sit in the comfort of my home and run my company, even though I'm going to learn not to call in on direct. So let me try one more time, Tommy. Tommy, I've been hearing a lot of clutter every time I turned you on. Have you got this headset figured out so you can help us with
I'm
a few
outside.
minutes?
I just got kind of thrown out of my house. So no, I'm talking from my cell phone.
How'd you get thrown out of your house? You mean?
It's a story, but I don't want to bring it on the air. But I just wanted to say I had like 3 questions and 3 things I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
One to Brad. About dreaming. First off, lucid dreaming is when you actually can touch your past lives, and they are real. But you need to translate them yourself and make sure that they're real for you.
Oh, for Dave Emmons? You mean for Dave Emmons?
Oh, for Dave. Sorry, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I believe that. Yes, I believe that, Tommy. You're correct.
Okay, I mean, I went through multiple physical, in the dream state, in altered state, and also just past life experience and memories. But that's really important, because if you translate them, it could help you. But the other thing is, I got 2 things. One for Bruce, and I know you're a scientist and you deal with pretty much a lot of facts. I deal with spirit and the inner worlds, and they're so different, because as far as time, and I'll ask you this, Bruce, saying something's 20,000 years old, saying something's 30,000 years old, and they can't even prove when the dinosaurs and the humans separated because they didn't. So, I mean, Michael Cremo is a friend of mine, and I saw the artifacts he had. Everything proves everything about history is a lie. So when they say, oh, this is this old.
Well, Tommy, I would have to strongly disagree with you based on the, you've never gone through the
carbon dating
of all of the data. No, forget carbon dating. It only goes back 70,000 years, and that's it. I mean, the stuff that I've been dealing with goes back hundreds of millions of years. Okay?
Wow.
Well, how do you prove that? How do you prove it, Bruce?
It's based on radiometric decay of nucleotides, of radioactive elements. That's the only way we know that how to put this into a sequence. Plus, there is superposition and the time scale, the relative time scale that was generated long before the numerical time scale came from radiometric dating.
Okay, Bruce, if that's wait.
Just a minute. The relative time scale is superposition in rock layers of seeing that these sets of fossils came after the fossils that can be found in the rocks underneath, and so you then find another area with the fossils on top, and then there's another layer on top of that which has different fossils, and so they create a sequence through time, and they've been able to flesh out, so to speak, the Phanerozoic, the last 550 million years of time based on numerical dating. For more than a couple hundred years, they had no idea how old this stuff was. Okay, all they could do is show the sequence in which these events occurred. And as much as I appreciate all the work that Cremo has done, he's made some errors in some of his interpretations based on my understanding of what he's been dealing. Now, I could say that on one hand, but on the other hand, I have seen stuff that indicates scientific data that the dinosaurs didn't die out at the end of the Cretaceous. Okay? They didn't.
Well, that's definitely provable. I mean, that's definitely the truth.
There are scientists who have gathered the fossil evidence and shown that they became very small populations around the world that continue to persist, but and they may even have persisted up to very recent times. And more than likely, just as with the mammoths and mastodons, that the humans are blamed for killing them, which they probably aren't. The ichthyostones in South America of humans riding dinosaurs, they may have actually existed, within the last 10,000 years. Okay, still existed.
Well, we are going into. Tommy,
let me just say this.
We need to go into quantum superposition, interference, and decoherence, which are words, Tommy, that we're using now in quantum physics. So the quantum theory and the uncertainty principle, we're discussing interference and decoherence these days, but it's just whether you use words agree or disagree, it doesn't matter because we're all going to try to work as a team. Okay, and so we'll have different people speak different words based on their own individual research, right?
All right. Well, I understand.
And so accept each individual as Bruce, Dave, get in here because Dave, as a journalist, we have to stay open-minded when we write. I want everybody to write articles so we can see what you're talking about. So we can do it like white papers, can we not? Dave?
Yes, yes, you can. Yes, you can. I was listening to Bruce and Tommy's exchange there, and it's quite interesting when you I guess have differences. A lot of times there's a lot of truths that pop up on both sides.
Both are right.
Yeah, right. And what I've seen myself, I don't know about Tommy, but I've been looking at archaeology, and I'm not a scientific person as far as that background is concerned. I'm a journalist, I'm an experiencer, and I keep up with a lot of archaeology and ancient, past cities and things of that nature, and the Bible and how it relates to history. The Bible is a good history book because they've been finding the towns that they talk about. But as far as the age is concerned about us, we have probably been here for millions of years. different species of humans probably. Giants have been here before us. So it goes back. I have to kind of agree with several million years back with the dinosaurs, walking with the dinosaurs. That is a strong possibility too that I've seen, and some of the things that I've been looking at and researching on my own. I'm not a academic like Dr. Bruce is, and Tommy's been in this longer than I have, but I'm looking at it as I guess as a personal viewpoint, as personal research, and actually putting it in investigative journalism type words. And I try to keep those words short and sweet in journalism. And what I'm seeing is, I don't know if Tommy and Bruce can come to a conclusion of how old life really is, but I think it goes back millions of years.
Yeah, I don't think we have to use linear timeline anymore. So that's the thing.
No,
we can use. Yeah.
No, I'm not debating that we're ancient. We have ancient people here. We had races after races. But when the government comes out and says something and tries to prove a specific date, Cremo had a stone with dinosaur bones and human stones in it together. So they actually, the human had to kill a dinosaur, or the boat was taken out by lava. But there's proof of different kinds of history. But I will throw this in. Aliens can go back and forth in time. They're implanting artifacts in time frames to make us believe certain things. Billy Myers went in the cave and pulled out Judas's story. He came out with the Gospel of Judas, which he was found in a cave, and a year later, the real documents were found. So,
we know about Billy Myers. But a lot of people won't, Tommy.
Yeah.
So when you drop a name, be sure we need to say who, what, when, where, why about our sources. So this is something I want to everybody to learn. And Dave and Ahmad, we're going to need to work together as a team, because I'm creating community. And I honor you, Tommy, and I honor Bruce, and I always used it. But you guys don't want to hear all about all my spiritual stuff. But you know what I'm saying, Tommy? Namaste. You understand that word? Namaste.
No, wait. Okay, but when you talk about science, you're talking about facts. I say let's take the most important artifacts on this planet.
Well, we've only got 2 minutes.
Wait, 2 minutes. The Emerald Tablets, the Shroud of Turin, the Ark of the Covenant. 3 artifacts that prove certain parts of history were so different than reality. The Talon of the Shroud of Turin, no scientist on this planet could prove anything about it. And the technology they have today, they can't prove when it was created, how it was created. So to say that this dinosaur was created by this is amazing.
Yeah, well, let's everybody. I'd like you. I've got 2 minutes here, roughly, but I'd like everybody to look at YouTube's, because all the kids these days, you get them to read anything. It's like, I don't know, except they go to school, hopefully. But let's just think that hopefully the old timers, they may want to get us off the planet. Anyway, I won't go there right now. But anyway, let's. I'd like you to look, if you don't mind, because all of you, Dave, Ahmad, and Bruce, and Tommy, I respect all of you working with me in our Alienology Club, even though you may not like the word. But look at the word zeitgeist, which we used to use, and now it's up differently with Peter Joseph. And Tommy, I'd like you to look at that. And Bruce, you mentioned Bruce Fenton, which I also like his timeline, because I had a PhD, Dr. Barbara, that was working with me, and she used that same timeline with the government before they closed that university project down for discovering the humanity. So we're rewriting history, folks. I don't know what to say other than pay attention to quantum physics and Tom Campbell and Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson, and we'll come back next week and let's see what we can discuss. But look at this zeitgeist, ZEITGIST, I hope. Go ahead,
Check
man.
out the Venus Project, too.
Yes, Venus Project, extremely important, folks. That's for, he says, food, clothing, shelter, warmth, and love, okay? And, Ahmad, do you know his name? I forget it every time. Do you know his name?
I do. It's a foreign name.
Okay, folks, we've got a lot of things we'd like you to look at what we're looking at together. So come back weekly. Dave, you're going to hopefully wind up co-hosting this. It seems to be sticking. We're at least showing up, and that's part of it. So showing up, and Bruce, appreciate